Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. Today is September 22nd, and it is Monday. Hopefully, all you guys had a wonderful day so far as the work week starts or the school week, whatever you do in your day to day lives. But outside of that, hopefully, all you guys are doing well. If you're new here, please subscribe as we are on our way to 500 subscribers. Hopefully, by the end of the year, we're sitting around 330 right now, making good progress. So keep subscribing if you're new here. I would love to try and hit that goal by the end of the year. Outside of that, though, if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in college, like food, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. It means the world to me. And with that being said, let's get into today's episode. Moving on to the Trump administration segment, as we do, the first topic we have today is Trump has said that he hates all of his political opponents. Trump and his supporters attended a rally to pay tribute to Charlie Kirk at State Farm Stadium in Arizona. Kirk was compared to Jesus, Moses, George Washington, Martin Luther King Jr., and Trump himself called him a martyr. And when Trump was the final speaker for the event, he said some interesting things for sure. Trump said, "On that terrible day, September 10th, 2025, our greatest evangelicalist for American liberty became immortal. He is a martyr now for American freedom." Trump also rallied against commentators, influencers, and others in our society because I hate my political opponents and I do not want what's best for them. You know, a lot of the people on the right continuously say that Joe Biden was a great divider for our people, yet it's Donald Trump. Because he says shit like this 24/7. Joe Biden never got on a stage and said, "I hate all my enemies" or "I hate all Republicans." Never, because he was an actually good president who did the goal of the president, which is to unify the American people, not Trump, who has said shit like this since 2016. You know, it's always Joe Biden. Always when it's them. It always has been. And that's not to point fingers or anything. That is the literal truth. Trump is supposed to be the president, which is supposed to unify the people, yet he is out here being the president of the United States, saying he hates more than half of our country's population. Like, that is insane. That is not something the president of the United States should be saying when he's supposed to represent the entire population. Trump has been a parasite for years, and if you think for a second that this divide was caused by the radical left, you need to put on your thinking cap and do some actual research, because the evidence is there that shows that Trump is the reason why there is such a divide. I mean, you think about it, even like elections before Trump ran for president, they were pretty calm, they were respectful. And since Trump has come into office, that has not been the case. He has changed the entire system and flipped it on its head, creating an entire divide between all of the people within our country. He is a problem, and that needs to be recognized. In other news, the White House has denied Homan's bribe controversy despite video proof. The White House has denied evidence of the case where Tom Homan accepted $50,000 in cash bribes. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, "Mr. Homan never took $50,000 that you're referring to. You should get your facts straight." But there's video proof, according to the FBI. In September, Homan was recorded by undercover agents accepting the bag with $50,000 in it, and they even had multiple angles of the video. This is normal at this point. Deny, deny, deny until something big happens and people forget about the entire thing. That's kind of been the landscape of this entire administration. If you haven't caught on yet, it continuously shows the scum of these people, and unfortunately, that won't stop soon. But it displays that they are the worst of the worst. That doesn't mean that English. I completely blanked on my statement. They are terrible people, and they are going to continue to make these claims that Tom Homan didn't do this. And it doesn't matter the amount of proof that you can show them, because at the end of the day, all that matters is they can keep their supporters in this bubble and keep them believing specific things. They know that they aren't going to, convince or, get all these people on their side when they're not already, because people are slowly starting to realize that the Trump administration is bad. But their goal here is to make sure that those around them at least believe them, because at least that boosts their ego, and gives them something. In other news, Trump says pregnant women shouldn't take Tylenol. The Trump administration has announced that the use of acetaminophen, an active ingredient within Tylenol, can increase the risk of autism to happen to children during the pregnancy stage, despite scientific research not being able to conclusively demonstrate a link. They're also expected to announce a type of vitamin B that can be used to cure autism. Trump said at the White House taking Tylenol is not good. That is the only legitimate argument that he gave. He said taking Tylenol is not good. And he said a few other things about how it might impact you, but at the end of the day, it was just a spiel that said nothing. It is a lie and a half. I think they know that they should know that. Without a doubt, this is very obviously just some RFK bullshit. And you're telling me all you have to do to cure autism is to take vitamin B supplements. Come on, dude. There's no fucking way. I'm not a medical expert, but a lot of that seems like a whole lot of bullshit. And the fact that they continuously attack autism is stupid. A lot of people say autism is a superpower, and I believe it. There are so many ways to prove that, and there are so many people throughout the world who have autism who are successful. All the billionaires, Elon Musk, all of those guys, they all have autism. So it's interesting that they say it's bad when all the successful people have it. Wonder how that works. In other news, Jimmy Kimmel has returned. ABC and Disney are bringing back Jimmy Kimmel after public pressure and around $4 billion in lost profits. In a statement from the Walt Disney Company, they said, "Last Wednesday, we made a decision to suspend the production of the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation and emotional moment in our country. It is a decision that we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday." This is great news and displays the true power that people have when it comes to using their voices and, making their voices heard. Now, if only we could get a boycott on this level from the workforce nationwide, we might be able to actually get some shit done there. I really hope this helps people realize, the strength that we, the people, can actually have if we use our voices and work together and make an attempt to get something done. Historically, people protesting, especially when it comes to white people, has gone pretty far. And, if we can realize that, if the workforce within our country can realize that and take a stand and say, fuck you, we'd get pretty far. We really would. So, hopefully, this kind of builds up some class consciousness, if you will. Now is better than tomorrow. So lock in, gang. In other news, Oracle is going to, quote unquote, retrain the TikTok algorithm. Oracle is set to receive a copy of the TikTok algorithm to retrain it for American users. A senior White House official said the algorithm would be fully inspected and retrained, claiming the content recommendation formula would only be retrained on U.S. data to make sure the system is behaving appropriately. Trump is expected to make an executive order later this week to approve the deal's framework. After that, Trump will issue a 120-day reprieve, giving both countries time to negotiate a deal. This is going to go through and work in the Trump administration's favor. TikTok is already a majority owned by U.S. investors, for one. We've talked about this on multiple occasions, but, China doesn't own very much of TikTok or, ByteDance, the parent company as a whole. U.S. investors are going to get what they want out of here, and the United States is going to get what they want out of here. It's already in American favor, and there's so much more that they don't really tell you at all. You should all look into it. It's been very interesting for me to learn about and do the research on. So, all of you guys should go do that in your free time. But, in all honesty, the TikTok deal is really just a distraction from the really important things that are going on, like the Epstein files, like all of that. If you look back on it, it really wasn't going to go anywhere. It is too profitable for, American investors to just get rid of the app. It really is. It really is. And it is really just a cover up, and it is really just a ploy to distract people, to make them forget about things like the Epstein files and all of that. I think it's interesting that TikTok on, one way has, been one of the less talked about things as a whole. But, at the end of the day, it is still a distraction. And yes, all things have a reason. This is one of those ones where it provides a reason, maybe, but it is also a big distraction because if you take TikTok away, you're going to piss a lot of people off. In other news, France and more countries have recognized Palestine today. France, Belgium, Monaco, and Malta have recognized Palestine as a free state. This comes as many European countries look to formally recognize the country and as global support against the genocide within Palestine reaches an all-time high. Trump is scheduled to speak at the UN General Assembly tomorrow and is likely to condemn freeing Palestine. Free Palestine, I'm glad to see that more and more countries continue to recognize that Israel is a threat and should not be supported at all. I cannot wait for the day that the United States wakes up and gets that done as well. Unfortunately, that is going to be a problem, especially when, a lot of people in Congress, are on that payroll. But, one day, we can only hope. Outside of that, though, thank you all so much for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. It has definitely been a very interesting day in the news world, that's for sure. If you're new here, though, please subscribe. As mentioned, we are on our way to 500 subscribers, and all the support would be greatly appreciated as we try to hit that goal by the end of the year. And outside of that, if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing. All funds go to me. They make me for the things that I need to pay for in college, like food, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. It means the world to me that so many of you continue to watch these episodes day after day. So thank you for that. With that being said, I will see you all in the next